Yeah, welcome to it. It's a Monday afternoon, kicking off a new week here on Gwynn and Chris. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., and Matt Skraby together in our Odyssey Palace studios. It wasn't supposed to be this way, guys. We were all supposed to be out at Petco Park enjoying Game 2 of the National League Championship Series with a show to follow. But alas, that did not happen. The Dodgers, as everybody is aware by now, took out the Padres on Friday night, and Tony Gwynn Jr., I must say that was an incredibly difficult pill to swallow, I think, for any Padre fan anywhere. And even though we've had a weekend to chew on it a little bit, it's still very difficult to digest.
Yes. I got the, no, it's not you, it's me, but we got this on the wrong one.
Wait a minute. He's going to answer shortly.
Oh, my Lord.
Maybe. That was a really good lead-in.
What is happening?
There we go. I had the wrong mic.
I thought all weekend. I thought all weekend about that lead-in.
It's not like this is our first day or anything.
I thought all weekend about that lead-in and fell a little flat in the end.
I'm sorry, Chris.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It was a bitter pill to swallow, and it took all weekend to digest, Tony.
Yes, it did. That was it was sudden. A little faster than I think anybody was ready for.
Yeah.
And I know it took me till probably late Saturday night before I was like out of a zombie fog. It kind of felt because, you're in shock. The game ends. I've seen enough other teams celebrate, so I didn't need to like do what Jackson did, which was watch the other team celebrate.
Yeah, he needed to see it.
He needed
carry
to see,
a little
right,
pain with him in the
100%.
next season.
From there, I had to drive home. So
yeah, it was so tough.
it was that I walk away after some time to reflect on it, and in this case, the Dodgers they beat the Padres. The Padres didn't do anything. Figuratively and literally in terms of offensively.
That's right.
But
they didn't do anything.
But
that might be the ultimate conclusion here.
Right. To be fair, you go back. I went back and I watched the last game, and
you did.
I did.
You watched all 9 innings of that.
I watched most of it. I haven't.
And you came to a similar conclusion that I came to watching the game live, and that is.
They didn't have very many mistakes.
The Dodgers pitchers didn't make any mistakes. I kept waiting for a ball in the middle of the plate.
I mean, here this just reminding everybody how this laid out. I mean, the Dodgers, Dave Roberts himself was non-committal going into that day in terms of who they were going to start. And I genuinely believe in this case they really didn't know, because I think they had a lot of reservations about starting Yamamoto.
They totally did, because they refused to announce it.
Right. Then when he was asked in the presser, would there be any consideration of him coming out of the bullpen? And he said that's kind of what's holding this process up. So that immediately told me they're not comfortable with him coming out of the bullpen for the first time in this situation. So you're going to have to start him unless you went with another bullpen day, which he said was on the table. And so all of that led you to believe that they didn't have a ton of confidence that he would be able to go out.
They didn't have any confidence in him. And, it just was the one rally, obviously, the Padres got. Fernando smokes a ground ball, double play. But, look, you can go back to Game 4. I don't want to relive that game either. But the bullpen night that the Dodgers, put together, it was supposed to turn out like what's happening today in their bullpen day.
Right.
And that is that Ryan Brazier gave up a leadoff home run to Francisco Lindor. Landon Knack came in the second inning today, gave up a solo home run to Tyrone Taylor and a grand slam to Mark Vientos. And now the Dodgers bullpen day looks like it was supposed to look. They're down 6-0 in the third inning, but I don't know. They got away with it on Thursday night. They got away with it on, or Wednesday night. They got away with it Friday night. And the Padres go into the postseason, and I hear so many different ways that it's been described, and read all of the, the postscripts, Tony. And I think the knowledgeable Padre fan, the fan who is, brokenhearted, the fan who just, you're sad. There's no other way to look at it. Those fans, I don't really have much for you. because I feel the same way. I think we all feel the same way. The players have to feel the same way, the front office, everybody. But for those that want to use the CH word, it's 5 letters. It ends in oak.
It's like,
I'm not that one. I'm absolutely, going to refuse to use it because there was no mistakes made. We just said this. The Dodgers had a magical run. It was part of 33 scoreless innings that continued last night, an all-time postseason record. And the Padres just happened to run into the middle of that. It defies any kind of explanation that a team that could go 67 games during the second half of the season in playoffs without being shut out, Tony, could get shut out twice in a row. And in the second one, not get a runner on base for the last 6 2/3 innings. The two numbers that are going to haunt the Padres and frankly should haunt them during the offseason is 24, which is how many innings they went without scoring, and 19, which is how many batters went down on a row to finish that 5th game. And, you mentioned Jackson Merrill sat and watched them celebrate. I do think you have to take some of this pain into the offseason because that is what is going to remind you next season, hey, I don't want to feel like that ever again.
Yeah, some guys have already taken that snapshot, and the loss itself is enough.
Mm-hmm.
A guy like Jackson, who's experiencing it for the first time, maybe it was a need for him to stand out there and absorb all of that. And you hope that is a piece of the driving force next year. I mean, you mentioned the the CH word.
Yeah.
The OG. I saw Nick Canepa. He certainly
yes, he did.
Suggested that is what the cause was, or which was the definitive word of the final of that postseason. I agree. I think the Dodgers beat the Padres, as tough as that is to say, and as unlikely as it seemed after Game 3 that was going to be the case.
That's what happened.
That's what happened. And
how did this happen?
Listen, 30.
That's pretty accurate.
And it's backed up by the fact that they turned around and did it to the Mets in Game 1 of their series. Now today, that 33 consecutive innings has come crumbling down in the first inning, and they're getting beat 6-0. But it was inevitable at some point with 2 starters running the proverbial bullpen day out there.
Yeah.
It may not have necessarily had to look like 6-0 through 3, but we knew at some point the levee was going to break.
Yeah, it may break some more here.
Yeah.
The Mets have the bases loaded in the top of the 3rd inning as well. Landon Knack's still in there.
Real quick, Landon Knack, it's funny. It's not funny, but it's interesting to see him up there because in the first bullpen game,
against
his
us,
name kept coming up in the press conferences. And
Dave
Roberts at some point said, I don't think Knack is going to factor into this unless something wild happens. And I think the translation was unless we are getting boat raced or we are boat racing them.
Yeah.
He's not pitching. And he comes in at a 2-0 game, and now it's 6-0. So maybe that's probably why the Padres didn't get a chance to see him. Maybe if they would have got a chance to see Mr. Knack, fortune would have been different. But I will say this. The good pitching certainly was a part of it. The Padres, in terms of their offense, they weren't able to do the things that they do best.
Nope.
They weren't able to drag at bats into the deep waters because they were making pitches. And there might have been a little bit of wanting it too much on the Padres end. They might have got a little bigger than they normally did, but I still think the onus is on the Dodgers and what they did versus the other way.
Yeah. This isn't going to make anybody feel better, but in Game 5, the Dodgers hit 2 balls hard the entire game against Yu Darvish.
And they both went over
the fence. The Padres hit 3 balls hard against Yamamoto, and all 3 of them, 2 by Manny, died on the warning track.
And then one was a double play.
And the other one was yeah, right. So it was just, not going to happen. And that brings up the other thing that I keep seeing and people referring to. And that is another 5-letter word that begins with a C, but it ends in "erse."
You're going to need to help me on this one.
I'm well lost.
It's no curse.
Oh, curse.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, can we the
Well,
curse?
look, say what you will. Say what you will.
Is Chris the curse believer of the room?
Say what you will. But a lot of Padre fans went to that when it was over.
Yeah.
Like this always happens to us in San Diego.
No.
And I'm finally ready to come clean
It does.
on
Wow.
something,
Oh, wow.
Scrape.
Here we go.
Ready to come clean. You're always talking about how old I am.
Yes, I am.
I have it under extraordinarily good information that in 1542, when Juan Cabrillo came over the hill and saw what was going to one day become Mission Bay and founded the city of San Diego.
Happened in 1542?
1542, Juan Cabrillo discovered San
no
Diego.
idea.
He was approached by the good Lord above. And the good Lord above
What
said,
is happening?
the good Lord
now?
above said, I will bestow upon you, Juan, the greatest weather any city in the world could ever have.
He sold us out for the weather.
But in exchange, your sports teams are never going to win a thing. And Juan Cabrillo said, okay.
All
He
right.
sold us out.
He
for
sold
the
us
weather.
out.
We need to get rid of the Cabrillo Monument because obviously that's the thing that is keeping San Diego from winning a championship.
He sold us out.
for the weather.
He sold us out over 500 years ago. Anyway,
That's hilarious.
So you're not into the curse, though.
I'm not.
By the
Look,
way,
and
listen,
there's been a
listen.
lot of examples of
Listen.
great things and great San Diego teams that have had something happen, but this team,
Listen,
I don't buy it at all.
This was the what year anniversary? What was it, last year? Was it the 20? What year?
For the Padres,
Padres.
this is their
This is the
55th year.
55th year.
Yeah, 56 seasons,
How long
but
did
55.
the Red Sox go?
Over 100.
How long did the Cubs go?
Over
This isn't
100.
making
Alright,
me feel better.
I'm just saying, we got a little ways to go.
What are you telling me,
We got
Tony?
54 years.
What are you telling me and
Saying.
everybody my age, Tony, that we're not going
Hey,
to live to see it?
I'm not saying that.
We're not going to live to
On the
see
chat.
it.
I'm
it
just saying we're not cursed. We're not
Darn
cursed.
you, Juan!
Juan Cabrillo.
I agree.
I just want you guys
I
to know
agree.
that I had my wife look that up this morning because I wanted to refer to it, and she
pretty good.
came up with
That's
it
good stuff.
1542.
That's good stuff.
All right.
I thought Columbus sailed the ocean blue, but that was 1492.
That was 1492. It took Juan another 50 years to get across the country over to the West Coast and discover San Diego.
Crazy.
All right. We are going to just kind of hang with you today. Francisco Alvarez, by the way, flied out with the bases loaded, so the Mets have to settle for this 6-0 lead, and the Dodgers are batting against Sean Manaea in the bottom of the third inning, and I think that's going to just tweak us a little bit more if Manaea pitches a great game today.
It definitely does.
But, again, who would you rather have, Dylan Cease or Sean Manaea? I think most of us would still take Dylan Cease.
Are you sure?
No, not at the moment.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you, Tony. Thank you for setting us
Yes.
straight.
No, Skraby.
I'm not going
knock
to say
it off.
anything about Dylan Cease. I'm going to save it for the Skraby show. But
Yes, save it for the Skraby show.
But
Exactly.
I will say in Padres Pen Pals, we have someone who wants to talk about Dylan Cease. Oh, can we also get rid of Dave Roberts and Ken Rosenthal on the screen right now?
Well, we can certainly get rid of Ken Rosenthal, and I hope that the Padres keep that going with him for the rest of time, honestly. I love the fact that he was they had to bring Tom Verducci in for Game 5.
Well, are you at all annoyed, like I am, that Dave Roberts admitted that this was just a ruse, even though we all knew it was a ruse?
I told you guys that.
Wait, what was a ruse?
The Manny
That
Machado.
he used that
Oh.
as a rallying cry for his team.
We all knew that, but then it
So
made,
why are you surprised?
Because then it made Ken Rosenthal write that stupid article that got
That-
everybody all riled
That didn't
up.
make Ken write the article. Ken made Ken write the
He
article.
had it in his drafts, and it
I
was
mean,
ready
come
to
on.
go.
He was ready. As soon as that happened, he was already like, yeah. You know? So
I think this
it's
is
all good.
I don't use this term often. I think what Dave Roberts did and what Freddie Freeman did by like saying, "Hey, I was never going to play, but I was in the lineup."
This
and
is a lot to do about nothing.
I think it's all Bush League,
It's
and I
all
never use that term.
It's not
I
Bush
never
League.
use that term.
not
ever.
Bush League.
To bring Manny Machado's reputation to the
Nobody
forefront.
questioned it.
Are you kidding me?
Nobody questioned
All the
it,
people
dog.
out there, man, he's dirty. He definitely threw
Who?
Dave
The
Roberts'
people
head.
who already felt like that?
I just think that what Dave Roberts did
Let me
was
say
outside
this. Let me
of
just
the
say
game.
this. Ken Rosenthal did not change anybody's mind about Manning.
You're right, but Dave Roberts definitely
People who already
didn't need
thought
to do
that
what he
thought
did.
that. I mean, listen, this is what today's media is. That's what we do nowadays. So it is what it is. I think it's a lot to do about another. The reason why the Padres lost is the Dodgers
I know that.
pitched the ball.
I'm not
very
saying
well.
that the Padres lost because of Dave Roberts saying
It
that.
sounded
I'm just
like
saying
that's kinda
Dave
what you were
Roberts. That's when it's all part of the game, that's all good. But then
It's
you're bringing in like
literally
the
a
outside
part of the
world. Like I don't.
game.
It's not part of the game.
Save all your whining for the Chronicles, which get underway. Return to the
afraid.
airwaves tomorrow.
I'm afraid that by the time we get there tomorrow, that I have it'll be stale crying.
Save it all for tomorrow. We do have Monday Night Football tonight. We wish we didn't, but it'll be the Bills and the Jets. We'll be going to that at 4:30. Up until then, we'll keep you up to date, of course, on this NLCS game. One that we wish we were in. The Mets leading the Dodgers 6-0. In the bottom of the third, Skraby referred to it. We'll have a Padre pen pal. We will have the NFL wrap-up from week number 6, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll mix in a Daily Gambit and a Chris versus the fan. So it's great to all be together. We wish we weren't together so soon. But alas, it is your fault, Juan Cabrillo. Gwynn and Chris, underway, 2:15 on a Monday, 97.3.
Chris Ello, Matt Skraby. We're all in mourning, just like the rest of you guys. I went back to the office today to pick up some stuff.
The office? You mean Petco Park?
That's my office.
It's true. It's so funny.
And it was interesting. There was a lot of somberness in the building, no doubt. Yeah, you could just see it in everybody's face.
Well, everybody was expecting to.
There's no doubt.
working
I
for a
was
few more
expecting.
weeks.
I was expecting. This is sudden, like I said. But I did get a few crazy DMs after the game, and it's along the lines of what Chris was talking about. Losing suddenly, and I think it really proves more than anything that people really believed in this team. Right? This is such a hurt is not too strong of a word for what a lot of people are feeling, and it really truly, I think, dives into the fact that everybody really believed in this team. It wasn't even for those who talked like they were on the fence. I think deep down they 100% believed, and I don't know that that's always the case with a San Diego team. I mean, that believe so much that these type of losses are still lingering. 4 days later? Yeah. That being said, I had a good one in my DM, and I shared it with Chris and
This is my
Matt
DMs every day.
the day after. This particular person thinks that MLB walked into the locker room and told the Padres after they took the 2-1 lead, "Listen, guys,
Time to lay down.
we need you guys to lay down.
Yeah.
Give it up. We need the Dodgers to advance. Jackson Merrill, I don't care that you are possibly the rookie of the year. We need you to do something you haven't done all year, which is struggle. I don't even know struggle. Be in a rut. Fernando, we know, you got off these first three. We're going to need you to.
No more.
That's it.
If you come up with anybody on base, hit a ground ball right at somebody.
Hit it hard. Don't make it look too obvious.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was in my DM yesterday.
Yeah.
Basically, didn't want me to reply. Just like, this is it.
Now, as a conspiracy theorist at heart,
MLB had the fix in.
yes,
That's what I'm getting at.
that's the theory right there. And as a conspiracy theory guy, I don't believe there's one here. I don't believe there's one here.
I mean,
I
this,
don't
You don't
know
think
how
that
you
really
can-
happened, huh?
I don't know how
please,
you could get.
please explain to me how you would get Manny Machado of all people.
You
like,
wouldn't.
Manny, we're gonna need you to not get any hits. I need you to lose these games.
Got
Who
to
cares about your
got to
legacy?
all 26 players and managers and coaches.
Said you guys had to give it up.
Lay it down.
Here's where I want to talk to those people for a second.
Okay, go ahead.
I understand what you're going through.
I do too.
Because it doesn't make sense. The team, I have the stat right here. The team that led the major leagues in batting average in the regular season went 9 for 62 over the past 2 games. Going back to the 4th inning of Game 3, immediately after a 6-run inning, they finished the NLDS with only 11 hits in their final 81 at bats.
And you can make the argument that they weren't even supposed to get those 6 runs in that inning.
It was
Went
all
for Manny-
infield.
If it wasn't for Manny's
Machado.
incredible base running play, that inning would have been over well
like
before
how-
Fernando ever came up.
Tony's in the laughing stage of mourning,
Yeah,
which
well,
is fine.
it only hurts when you laugh.
No, I get it. But
So-
to those people, I understand. But what happened was the Padres didn't get the job done.
It's true. They didn't.
That's it.
And the Dodgers did get the job done, and they get to go on. I just, I mentioned this earlier, and we can cross our fingers. But the sports landscape is littered with teams that have had awful disappointments the year before,
For sure.
and then come
Buffalo,
back.
4 straight years.
Well, Buffalo never did come back though, so they're not really a great example.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking to
that
somebody
had come back
had
and
a-
actually won.
had a
Oh, okay,
crushing
gotcha.
loss the
Gotcha.
year before, whether it be the NBA Finals or in the playoffs on a last-second shot, or NFL teams that have lost miraculous playoff games and come back the next year. It does happen. I hope it does happen this time. We'll get into who the Padres may keep and may not keep, but I think in general, you look at this. it's going to be another really good team. I know everybody keeps saying, well, the Dodgers are going to get way better. They're going to have Ohtani pitching next year. Well, I think the Padres are going to be better because they're going to have this team the whole year. I don't think they're going to only play a second half next year. So,
I mean,
hopefully it's the start of a long run. That's what Mike Schultz said. I agree with him. And, you use some of this agony to fuel your fire next time around.
At this point, are you people still in the mindset of thinking, well, obviously the Dodgers are going to get – they said the same thing about the Dodgers this year.
Yeah.
And the Padres just did nothing but beat up on them until games 3, 4, and 5.
I think what also hurts, and it's not at any fault of what the players are saying, is that we all believe this team was built to win it all. And Chris even said it on Friday. This is their closest chance they've had in a really long time to actually having a team built for a championship.
That's why it hurts so much.
And that's what, because teams like this are going to break up to some extent. There's going to be players that leave. So
it's going to be changes.
That's every year.
I know, and that's what hurts most because you wanted this team to win, and it didn't.
Well, this team is going to have another chance. I'm thinking next year and perhaps the year after that. A lot of these guys are signed for a long time. Some of them aren't, and we'll get into all of that. But, for right now, all you can do is, hang with them. I mean, the other guys beat you. It's a loss that you can't really come up with a lot to salvage. You just got to pretty much say, we got beat. We didn't get it done. Skraby, you said it. They didn't get it done. And they got to go back and deal with it and try to get it done next time. There is going to be another season. This isn't it.
I do believe that, unlike 22, this is actually something they can build off of. I mean, because unlike 22, where it was just kind of a scatter shot there at the end and they got hot, this was a full year of pretty much playing the same way. They started being more consistent, obviously, in the second half, but I kind of communicated, I talked to Joe after his surgery just via text, and, I think he said, one of the things he said that stood out to me was that we know how this works now. We know how to get to this point. And I think that means, and the fact that you have so many leaders. Now, listen, they got some things they got to address, and how they address them at this point, I have honestly no idea.
Yeah. I mean, there's time for all of that.
Right.
Even though Skraby didn't want to give us time because he posted all of it the next morning.
He already got it cracking already, 2025.
Because you know why?
You can't even mourn.
In so much disbelief, I was like, let's run this back right now. Let's go. And then I realized that Tanner Scott was going to probably be leaving because he's a closer. And he's going to get closer money.
And the beautiful thing is there's probably going to be a bunch of NL West teams in on him because
he
Mr.
gets Ohtani out every time.
He's in
Some
the
say that the Dodgers are going to pay whatever they can to get Tanner Scott on their team so he doesn't have to face them.
I mean, listen, he's going to be a good, whether it's here or anywhere else, he's going to be a great addition. Profar, obviously, that's something they're going to have to figure out. I don't know that they have to figure out Ha-Seong Kim. That may be a ship that's sailed.
I feel like it has.
It does feel like that.
Yeah.
We'll hired Boris, so that tells me everything.
He's now a Scotty B guy, so we'll see how that kind of works out.
Higgy, bring him back for anything it costs.
Is Higgy a free agent?
Yes.
Yeah, Higgy made himself some money too. Go ahead, Kyle. I'm happy for. No,
he's going to be more expensive than you want him to be.
I'll tell you right. He's going to be expensive, and good for him.
Tanner Scott, will he take like a hometown discount?
Nah, man.
Not to pitch the eighth inning again. You don't want to do that again. He was a good soldier this time, but he's not going to do it again.
See, that's what really irks me is that, the team was built.
They still got a core. They got a good.
They got a really good core. Most of the guys that are free agents, honestly, are Peralta and Solano and Wade and people on the outsides.
Now, listen, that kind of depth is not easy to find.
No,
we clearly know that from past rosters, but those guys have rightfully made themselves some. I would assume a pay raise. Solano, even if it's in the same role somewhere else, they've proven that they are
probably get a little more money.
100%. I mean, David Peralta talked about it in his last presser. Like, he started the year recovering from surgery, just trying to prove that he could still play. And he got the opportunity here. Maybe that means something to him in the long run, that the opportunity came from here. But nonetheless, it was still, despite the heartache, was a fantastic season, and it was a bunch of fun.
It was. The one thing that carried with me through the weekend, though, was Jurickson's comment after the game Friday night, which basically was, I can't remember any of the good stuff right now.
No, you shouldn't at that
You
point.
know, it was really hard to think of anything good that happened in that very moment Friday night.
You know why? Because they believed
Yes, they did.
that they were going to move on that game.
Should have swung the bat a little bit more then.
You know what, Skraby? do you
Look at him hide
know,
behind that, all
visualize
that
this guy-
equipment over there and that board.
Do you remember
He's
when,
out of arm's reach.
Do you remember when the younger Bush was president and that dude threw that shoe at him?
Yes,
and
yes,
he ducked,
yes.
I just had a visual of you
Yeah,
ducking
me
out
ducking
of
out of the way.
out of way of a water
There was
bottle.
a
I
good
threw at him.
meme of Dave Roberts ducking out of the way of Manny Machado's throw.
I think that's where it came from.
But I'm always good at making people laugh even when we're sad.
I don't know. You make me mad.
you do have
a lot of laughter
a
over
propensity to make Chris
I've been
mad.
making uncomfortable jokes to Padre fans all weekend long, so I should probably stop now.
All right, let's get to break. We got more Padres baseball, including some PPP, up next.
Yeah, we know. Padres are supposed to be playing right now. Instead, it's the Dodgers. If it makes anybody feel any better, they're getting whooped. 6-0 Mets.
It does make me feel better.
Good. Mets are batting in the top of the fifth. Francisco Lindor ended the Dodgers' 33-inning postseason scoreless streak
I must have just missed
on the
it.
first at bat of the game.
Because I watched a high fastball from Brazier. Mm-hmm. I think that made it like 2-1. And then I turned to do something else.
Gone.
Apparently, he
End
went
of
deep.
streak, and it was an all-time record-tying performance by the Dodgers. You know, the one thing that I found ironic about that, the team that set the record was the 1966 Orioles, and they did it against the Dodgers. So I guess it all comes full circle sometimes. Tyrone Taylor hit a homer in the second inning today off of Landon Knack, and then Mark Vientos, after Lindor was intentionally walked, hit a grand slam. And that's where it is. 6-0. Sean Manaea, he's pitching well so far as the Mets try to even the series. Tonight it'll be game one of the American League Championship Series. Yankees hosting Cleveland. And I thought the most interesting thing that happened over the weekend there was Cleveland knocking out Detroit, Tony, on really what amounted to as a grand slam by Thomas. And Lane,
Great pickup.
well, was he though?
Was he national?
He was a national,
Yeah.
and the Guardians traded for him. Lane Thomas went to Cleveland and proceeded to go 5 for his first 54 with his new team. And you got to believe that most people in Cleveland are like, who is this guy? What were we thinking? Well, found out who he was in that playoff series. He hit a 3-run homer to win game one and a grand slam in the clincher. So I guess you never quite know how it's all going to turn out.
It's funny when they made the trade for Thomas.
Yeah.
They were asking Ramirez after the game, so it was like the trade.
Jose Ramirez
was
Yeah.
asked about him, and you could tell he didn't know who Lane Thomas was.
Huh?
And so he kind of said something in Spanish to somebody next to him, and they kind of informed him who it was. And he was, oh
That's
yeah,
funny.
good player. And then so it was funny to see him come up in that spot,
Yeah.
hit that grand slam. He's like, oh yeah, you know who I am now. I bet.
I bet he does. And if you are one of these Skrabinators out there, I think a lot of us actually have this thought. But there's 4 teams left in the playoffs, the top 3 payrolls in baseball, and then the Guardians, who have the 29th best payroll in baseball, or 21st. So, there is somebody,
There's so
a
many-
little bit of fun to root for out there if you so choose.
There's so much connecting tissue in this playoffs for the
It really
Padres.
is, yeah.
I mean, Jose Ramirez was about this close a couple years back. Might have been 22
Yeah.
that he was going to be a Padre. He had to either accept the deal, at least that's the rumor.
Yeah.
He had to accept the deal that was on the table, or he was getting traded. Now, mind you, we had Manny already. Where he was going to play, had no idea. But now fast forward, he's leading the way for
What a
that
player
for
he
that.
is.
Yes, great player. For that Guardians squad.
You got obviously Sean Manaea with the New
There's
York
there's
Mets.
a bunch of them everywhere.
Why am I blanking on? Oh, Josh Naylor, which
Yeah.
I thought I saw a really funny picture of
About him in the clubhouse, somebody was calling him fat. Basically, did you see
Oh,
that?
they didn't say. Yeah, I can imagine that those are out there.
Yeah.
But this one said, "This is what Pat Mahomes is going to look like in
That's a
20
good
years."
That's a good call.
I didn't. You know what? I don't think Josh Naylor cares at all what people think about his body.
Josh Naylor's a maniac, I think. So
He is a maniac.
it's all
He
good.
hits his head on things.
All right, speaking of maniacs, time to turn things over to Mr. Skraby for today's version
Thank you.
of the Padres Pen Pals.
It's time to ask the experts, Padres fans.
I was hoping maybe you can bring a little insight into it.
Write us, tweet us, Facebook us, send a carrier pigeon for Chris. He thinks they're cute. Padres Pen Pals begins
Hurt the Pelota big time.
now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right. We might do these a couple times throughout the offseason if we have stuff to talk about, but this might be the last 2024 season Padres Pen Pals. So we'll get right into it. We're going to go happy, sad, and then sad again. So I tried to find happy. Let's start with happy. I am really sad about the Padres winning, but I am also a glass
Wait,
half
what?
full. Hold on.
Okay.
I am really sad about the Padres winning, but I am also a glass half full type of person, so I can't help but look back on this season and be happy there are so many things to cheer about. Jackson Merrill, the knuckleballer Matt Waldron, Jurickson Profar, and a no-hitter were really awesome things to be able to cheer about. Maybe this will change the further we get away from it. Maybe I will think this season was a complete and utter failure down the road, but for right now, but for now, I'm going to be happy with the good. Chris, am I lying to myself?
You are at the moment, but but eventually it'll all be good. It's going to take a long time, and you know I get it. But the '98 Padre team is looked upon with greatness, and they got swept right out by the Yankees in the World Series. The '84 team, I think Kurt Bavacqua still probably can't buy a beer around town, you know, with that home run. So, and that team ended up losing out in the end. But yeah, for all the reasons we've already discussed, it's going to be a while before we can look back fondly on this year.
Tony, is this person lying to themselves about looking back at the good stuff instead of the bad?
Oh, no, they're definitely lying to themselves right now. There's no getting around that. They're definitely lying to themselves, but that's okay. You do what you have to do to cope with what you're going through. And if lying to yourself in this moment gets you through, you eventually will see the light and understand that you're going to have to go through some heartache at some point. I know you're trying to keep yourself positive, but on the flip side of that, there is still a lot to be excited about, happy about. I think this type of play is sustainable for this team next year. And I think I'm born in this game, and so like I have an ability to kind of get past, even though this has probably taken me longer than most years.
Yeah.
I'm
not there yet. It's really hard to watch these games right now.
I'm
I'm a sports fan, so I'm tuning in, but it's not easy.
Yeah, I'm not there in terms of like enjoying watching the game yet. Not there, but you do start to think about the differences in 22 going into 23 versus 24 going into 25. There's just seems to be more stability right now than there's been in some time, and so I'm excited about that. It's still hard to believe that it's not. I'm sitting here at this desk as opposed to at Petco Park right now, but that's what it is.
It is. I told the guys that I had to mute MLB on Twitter because immediately after the Padres were eliminated, they sent out like 17 tweets about how happy Shohei was, and I just couldn't handle it anymore.
You know, I will say one thing about referring back to this 2024 season. You may never out there be able to watch a highlight package of this year's NLDS. And I mean never.
Never.
I have still not seen a single highlight from Super Bowl 19 where the 49ers beat the Dolphins before you were around.
I can pull one up for you.
Yeah, I know you could, but I wouldn't watch it. I'm still, the pain lingers enough that I don't even want to see highlights from that.
That was like 40 years ago.
Sorry.
Still sitting.
Don't want to see it.
Still sitting strong.
All right, well, I have a feeling this next person is going to be very much so like this. It goes like that, or this, that, whatever. I'm heartbroken, I'm devastated, and I'm really angry the season is over. I'm not so much angry at the team for falling short, but I'm mad at the baseball gods for giving us the season we have and then taking it away just like that.
I like this.
I'm not going to complain about the Dodgers. I'm not even going to complain about Dave Roberts. Tony's up first. I'm going to ask you whether or not, we've kind of already talked about this, so I may need to give my opinion. But Tony, would you categorize this as a quote-unquote choke job?
No. I know that is the low-hanging fruit for everybody, but it's not. It's just not a choke job. The Dodgers played better than the Padres in that, what was that? However many innings that was.
Yeah, for 24 innings.
24 innings.
I'll never forget that number.
The Padres didn't.
You know, you can't forget it because it's on the jersey of the Mets in honor of Willie Mays. Every time they come up, I see a 24. I don't want to see it anymore.
I think the Padres' inability to hit really was good pitching by the Dodgers. Now, I listen. I like I said, I've gone back. I watched the last 7 innings of that game. there aren't a lot of mistakes out there. There just aren't.
Chris, do you categorize this as a choke job?
I will never categorize it as such. More inclined to blame Juan Cabrillo, as I did earlier.
Go back to the beginning of the show if you want to hear why we're blaming Juan Cabrillo.
It's his fault.
I will not categorize this as a choke because I think choke is the Falcons. Sorry, Adam, falling to the Patriots in the Super Bowl when they were up 28-3. But I will say they had they had to win one game out of 2 games, and they weren't shut out in back-to-back games. You had to go back to May 20th to find that.
That was like a thing of 2023.
Yes.
Like,
and that's why we all year we're like, okay, this team isn't that team. And then it ended up being that team. And it's hard to handle. Did the music just end randomly and suddenly?
You on the board, dog.
Strange. All right, here we go.
Max Muncy just homered. Dodgers are on the board.
Max Muncy sucks.
Yeah, no kidding.
Another thing, just go ahead. Just finish, pal. I'll get to this next segment.
Write it down. I was talking to some friends over the weekend about the 2025 Padres, and I can't help but think this roster they had this year would have been so good down the stretch. I know Tanner Scott is probably departing for bigger things, but do you think, Chris, players would want to stay because they want to run it back?
Maybe some, but not Tanner Scott.
He's looking at like Josh Hader type money.
He's about to get paid, dog.
Yeah. Most guys are going to go where there's more money, right? I mean, look, Higashioka had a breakout, but if somebody is willing to give him $20 million for 3 years,
he'll go there.
He's going to go there. That's how you do it. So,
that's what he's
that's wishful thinking, but no. I will say no.
Dude, Tony's giving me the deuces.
Yeah.
Tony, would players accept a team-friendly deal to run it back?
I think Chris is right. Some of them may. And the reality is none of them may be willing to take a discount. This is a very small window that you have to make this kind of money.
Yeah.
And it closes extremely fast. And so...
Yeah, go 0 for 10 and you'll be in the minors with Luis Camposano.
Right. So you don't have the luxury, honestly, to take discounts unless you've already made a boatload of money. And it just so happens the guys that we're talking about aren't in that category. And so Tanner Scott, I mean, we had him on. We listened to his story and how he got to this point. This dude was playing JUCO baseball and ended up at a 4-year college and just pitched his way, and his coach happened to tell him he was going to get drafted, and here he is. So I don't see him being like, yeah, you know what, that was fun. And it probably is. Both things can be true. It was fun, and he loved his time, but he also wants to get paid.
He also wants to maybe not have to work when he retires.
Exactly.
I hate to say it, but you made the call. He's going to be pitching against us next year with the Dodgers.
Don't say that.
It already makes too much
At least
sense.
they already have the blueprint out.
Otani will pay the guy himself so that he doesn't have to face him anymore.
He literally will be paying him all that money. He's deferring.
Yeah.
Should we? I'm gonna skip the Dave Roberts one. This person's very angry with Dave Roberts.
Well, let's hear. We might as well. We're in it for the long run.
I want to go. I want to go with this one though. We could do the Dave Roberts one later if we want. I am a little numb writing this 2 days after the Pods were eliminated. I know this is all just revisionist history, but I thought going into Game 4 and after Game 4, Dylan Cease was not the right guy to start that day. I know you could say it was lost at the plate, but being down at so many runs so early seems like it would be deflating. I am ride or die with Mike Schilt. But Tony, am I wrong to look back on Cease starting as what caused the Padres to lose the series?
Yes, you're wrong. It's whoever.
Or
said person.
Don't look at me when you say that.
What was the other option?
The other option was a bullpen day, Martin Perez. And if you go with either of those, then you have Cease in Game 5, and they felt more comfortable with Darvish in Game 5. So this was...
And that turned to be the right choice.
That was the right choice. This may not have worked out, but it was the only choice. And when you talk about how they were way behind, when he left, it was 3-0. Game wasn't over. Game number 4.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Feels like it because the Padres couldn't score, but it was only
Knowing what we
3-0
know
when
now.
Schilt got him out of there pretty quick. So, Yeah, it didn't work, but I don't think so.
All right, here's the last one about Dave Roberts. Dave Roberts, where do I begin? I had so much respect for you until this series. After admitting to playing up the story about Manny's throw to the dugout and the Ken Rosenthal response to that, I've lost all respect for you. Using Manny's reputation for a distraction is downright wrong. Manny has shown us all here in San Diego he's a guy that loves to play the game and is not a dirty player. Maybe he was, but not anymore. Anyway, between that and Freddie Freeman...
Maybe he was, but
He was a dirty player when he played for you, Dave Roberts. That's when he used to step on people's
That's true.
cleats and
That's
all that.
true, Chris.
maybe that's ridiculous.
When he was a Dodger, he was dirty.
Anyway, between that and Freddie Freeman, he was never going. There were some Bush League happenings. You could say things, but when you're using a player's reputation, I think you cross the line. I know you guys don't have any response for that.
I do. We can just wait till the other side.
I have a response
Okay.
to it.
No.
Tell yourself to relax, because that sounds like something you wrote.
It was not me.
It sounds like
It does sound like
a
me, though.
Skraby special right there.
It does sound like me, though. I
right.
gotta say.
6-1 Mets. Dodgers on the board. They're going to the top of the 6th. Gwynn and Chris going to hour number 2. Next on 97.3 The Fan.
I'm Matt Skraby. That's Gwynn. That's Chris. And we are going to be answering a question that we had from Padres pen pals.
What was the question again?
Was it the one about Dave Roberts?
Yeah.
Yes. You could say things, but when you are using a player's reputation, I think you cross the line.
It's a lot to do about nothing. We said, I told you this was a part of his game plan when it was happening, like live.
And I believed you.
Felt like he was doing the old Phil Jackson, like, look over here.
Don't look at us
Don't
losing
look at
2
us.
games to 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did Phil Jackson use? What was the
He used the
situation?
referees a lot of
He
times.
used the referees mostly.
Okay, that's a fair thing.
It's all fair.
Why is it fair to criticize the judgment and honesty of hardworking officials, Skraby?
Yeah, how about that?
Because that's what we do. That's their job is to be
Oh.
judged.
Okay.
Is it? Or is their job to
Their job
actually...
is
Phil Jackson basically used to look at Jake O'Donnell and say,
"You're
you're a
cheating."
liar.
You're cheating.
And then he would look at Mendy Rudolph or whoever the next guy was down the line and say, you're cheating.
Okay, so what
And
if
then
he...
he'd say to the next guy, you're throwing games.
Okay, so
and
what
you're
if-
calling fouls only because, I mean,
What if he
why
turned
is that
out-
okay?
What if he turned and he said, "Hey, you know what? What if he called a press conference to say, Patrick Ewing was cheating last game, and I want to call him out for it." Like, that's the same thing Dave Roberts did. He would never go and say Patrick Ewing was cheating.
It's not the same thing.
Dave Roberts said it was unsettling. He didn't say cheating.
That's it.
Yeah, unsettled. But,
You know who made this actually bigger?
the news?
No, Ken Rosenthal to be exact.
That's the guy that I don't like.
That's who
You
made.
don't
That's
like the
where
guy
my-
who actually used the
My
ruse?
my venom is directed at Ken Rosenthal because he had absolutely no right as a supposedly,
it
down
wasn't
the
even-
middle television reporter to pick that time to write that article.
And
now,
he
if
didn't
wa-
even just go at Manny. He added
he
others into
ripped
that
all
as well.
these guys, and you talk about challenging all of their characters. I thought what Ken Rosenthal did, and that's why I was stunned when we got the report that the Padres were just giving a 1-game moratorium. I said at the time, I'm like, they're better than me because I
wasn't
wouldn't
just-
be able to forgive him that quickly.
It was
and as
not
it turned
just-
out, they didn't
it
give
was,
him that.
It was not just a
quickly.
1-game moratorium.
Yeah.
And can I distance myself from the people that are saying that the reason they lost is because Dave Roberts? I don't think that. The reason the Padres lost, again, is because the Padres didn't get the job
Well,
done.
I think really ultimately what happened was Dave created and for once, because for a long time the Padres have been able to kind of hold the us versus them type deal. He flipped that on its head by galvanizing his own team. They hadn't pitched that way all season.
So you think it, I mean, obviously it worked.
I think they came back and they played with a little bit more,
He might have been able to galvanize him a little bit.
him a little bit.
And I don't think he really threw Manny under the bus that much because anybody who watched it knows that Manny didn't really throw the ball at him.
And if he
understood
wanted
that
to,
Dave
he could have took his.
That's
could
what Mike
have
Schultz said.
Back if he
Mike
wanted
Schultz
to.
said, I don't think Manny's going to miss from 25 feet if he really wants to
but
hit
then-
him.
Okay, I'm not trying to make a bigger thing out
You're
of it. than
telling
it
me that
is.
some guy in
I'm
Rhode
not.
Island or something who wasn't really paying that close attention
Island.
listened to what Dave Roberts said and now hates Manny Machado.
Well, I think when
so
I
that's
see
what bothers
no,
you.
what I think what happened was when I started seeing around Twitter the reactions like Trevor Plouffe. I went to his reaction and he said that he thought it was malicious, and so
He said he thought it was intent. He didn't.
That's the
say,
same thing.
No, malicious and
Okay.
intent are two entirely different
You're right.
things.
he had intent. So all it did was just cause all this conversation around the dirty player Manny Machado and him trying to hit Dave Roberts with a baseball.
so be it. So be it. I don't mind. I don't really mind if they think we're dirty. I don't really mind if they think we don't have class. I just want to beat them next time.
That's
and I
it.
think the Padres are going to use all of this stuff to their advantage next time. And one last thing, if the Dodgers needed to be fired up by Dave Roberts saying that Manny Machado threw a ball at him, shame on the Dodgers for needing that in the first place, frankly.
Yeah,
Come
I
on.
still think it's ridiculous that that's what we were talking about. But anyway, all right,
I mean, Dave
will leave it
Roberts.
behind.
Look, Dave Roberts now is trying to take credit so that he looks good.
Because everybody was like, "What is
I
this guy
turned it
doing?"
around with that commentary.
I was
on,
unsettled.
Dave. Come
All
on,
right, I'm
Dave.
over it. We'll move on.
Please.
All right. Well, Are we going to get in some daily gambit?
Yes,
today?
we
sir.
are,
Let's
man.
play, or let's
It's
not
time to
play.
welcome Tony back into
Let's
the Daily
back.
Gambit.
Let's get into some daily gambit.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. I just wanted to start because this kind of got lost in all the Padres hustle and bustle, but our Survivor League that we have right now through ESPN, 8 entries left, guys, and all 8 entries got it right this week. So we're going to have 8 entries next
We started
week.
with almost 200, and most of us were eliminated the first couple of weeks.
I was eliminated in week 1, Chris.
Yeah, I think I went out in week 2. So
3
I was
people
right
picked
behind
the
you.
Texans over the Patriots. Obviously, a good pick. 2 people picked the Falcons over the Panthers. 2 Eagles over the Browns. And then 1 Packers over the Cardinals.
All right, so all 8 of you, congrats. The belt is still up for grabs.
The belt is still up for grabs. All right, here's what we did on Friday. It was the Dodgers and the Padres over under a total score or total number of runs at 8. Chris, you were over. I was under.
I was hopeful.
It was way under 2-0. I didn't think it was going to be like that.
Yeah.
The Guardians were -1.5 on the run line over the Tigers.
Actually, it was the other way around.
Oh, it was the Tigers.
Game 5, the
-1.5.
Tigers were actually favored because they had Skraby pitching.
Oh, then I lost because you chose the Guards. I chose Detroit, and the Guards, they won 7-3. So you win that bet, Chris.
Right.
Scooble over under 5.5 Ks on Saturday. We both went over. He had 6. Oklahoma, Texas. Texas were 14.5-point favorites here in the Red River rivalry. And Chris chose Oklahoma. I chose Texas. Texas won 34-3.
Yeah, that was a beatdown.
Now, Wyoming was a 1-point favorite over the
Hey,
Aztecs.
here we go. Here's some good news, Tony.
The Aztecs, Chris chose them. I chose Wyoming.
Yeah. Don't even let him out of this room after the show for that.
Aztecs 27, Wyoming 24.
Believe it.
Yeah,
Believe it.
Yeah.
Nice
Hang
game,
with it, buddy.
Danny
You know what?
O'Neal.
I almost was inappropriate right there. I caught myself.
It's almost inappropriate.
I mean, come on. You can't tell me that you would feel completely comfortable taking the Aztecs plus
-1? Yes, I would. I would,
Okay.
actually.
All right. Next game, Ohio State -3 at Oregon. Now, this game had a crazy finish to it. We both chose Oregon, and we won 32-31. But the... Sean and I's got 2 guys on, no out, bottom of the 6th. Ohio State quarterback, with like 6 seconds left, took the snap.
Oh, yeah.
With 1 timeout, and all he needed to do was slide. He slid, but he slid after the clock had expired and the game was over.
They couldn't kick the field
They
goal.
couldn't kick
You
the
know,
field goal.
you know who's starting to become he's starting to be in my bucket of dislike
Your
head
book?
coaches.
Oh, is it Ryan Day?
No, not
Oh,
right.
the Oregon guy.
The
Was
Oregon
it
guy.
Is his name
This guy,
Kansas?
he is.
I don't know what his name
He's
is.
feeling himself right now.
Yeah,
He
he's pretty
definitely
proud
is.
of himself.
Well, you know what, Coach? You shouldn't have let your team. It came down to Dan Lanning. That's what it is.
Dan Lanning.
Yeah. Well,
mean,
he
but-
won.
He
He did, but that was crazy.
keeps winning, too.
That quarterback, as soon as he hit the ground, he put his hands on his head like, I'm
What
an
did
idiot.
I do? He put his hands to his head like Skraby.
Yeah, like,
I'm
all
an
the
idiot.
time. Winnipeg Jets -1.5 on the puck line over the Blackhawks. Jets, Chris and I chose, and we were wrong. The Jets won, but they won 2-1.
Blackhawks took it to overtime.
And the final bet was Liberty and the Lynx in the WNBA Finals over under 162.5 points. Chris went under, I went over.
Liberty got even.
Liberty wins 80-66 for 146 points.
It went under, but that series is tied at 1.
Yes,
and
it
I
is.
think if you can't watch baseball, and it is not easy, tune into that. That's
Some high-level basketball.
Returns Wednesday night, man. Those kids are playing some great basketball through 2 games in that WNBA final. Oh, my goodness gracious.
They're
It's coming
kicking it
unraveled.
Oh no.
2 walks
Double
by
play.
Minaya and a double play booted by Iglesias.
Who, by the way, is like the most sure-handed infielder in
Ever.
baseball. he just
Bases
kicked
loaded, nobody out.
They
6-1 Mets.
This is
but the
going to sound
Dodgers
very,
threatening.
very lame, but they shouldn't even be there.
They probably just told Iglesias, you got to kick the ball.
Oh, that's
And,
true. That's
he
true.
did
The
it.
MLB came to him before the game and said,
That's
in the
the
sixth.
you know, I didn't even think about that. That's exactly what happened. I knew it. I knew when I saw all those MLB heads around there.
Oh yeah, Rob
It's like-
Manfred.
It's like, huh? You guys checking, huh?
Hey, Julio. We're going to need you to kick one so that Corey Seager
Rob Manfred, he's not on the Dodgers anymore.
can thrill our fans. All right, here's what we got for tonight. Tony's back in the running. We got baseball. We got the Guards and the Yanks. 7.5 runs tonight, guys, for Game 1 of the ALCS. 7.5 over under. Tony, you're first since you're back in business here.
7.5. We're gonna
Over,
go under.
Boy, these games have been tight. Scraby?
Who's pitching? Do we know?
Cobb for the
Can't be Garrett
Guardians.
Cole.
Rodon for the Yankees.
Over.
Over, he says.
Rodon got off to a good start, and then it kind of went sideways.
Yeah, and then he
He was like, "Woo!
he
Let's
definitely-
go!" After
yes.
he struck out the first
he's
three,
puffing
and then,
his chest out.
and then they proceeded to tax him after that.
That's the Twitter account that says things that precede unfortunate events, and it was like him cheering.
I'm going to go over just because it's a small ballpark. Alex Cobb, 3.5 strikeouts is all he needs tonight. Will he be around long enough for that, Scraby?
3.5
Over or under
Ks.
3.5 Ks for the Guardians pitcher.
Yeah, I have no idea if the Yankees strike out a lot, so I'm just gonna say under.
Under? It sounds like an under to me. Although it's not very many.
It's not.
Tony,
I'm gonna say over.
you're going to go over.
Give
All
me
right.
4.
Also in New York tonight, actually across the river in New Jersey, it's Monday Night Football. We will carry the game here following our program. Coverage begins at 4:30. Buffalo Bills are favored by 1 point on the road against the New York Jetropolitans. The Jets, with everything that happened in the last week, does that rile them up to play a good game tonight, or was it just such a mess that they can't recover from it?
It sounds like there's good
tough.
vibes with this defensive coordinator taking
I
over.
think the Jets are
49er.
gonna. I think
Is
the
he
Jets
too?
are gonna
Yeah.
rile up. I'll take the Jets plus a
So
point.
he probably didn't take this job like extremely
think
happy
he-
because he was a solid guy, right? He
Yeah, I
brought
think
him
that-
over.
Yes, but he did
play
something
for the
very
49ers.
smart.
Yeah,
he demoted Nathaniel Hackett
immediately.
immediately. I gotta believe the
Immediately.
Jets blow them out tonight, 47-3 without Hackett.
That won't be good for Mr. Hackett if they have a
Yeah,
great
right.
offensive
Yeah,
performance.
Jeff Holbrook played 10 years in the NFL for the 49ers. linebacker.
Tony, who
so
do you
yes,
like
he was
here?
a solid guy.
Buffalo -1.
Give me the Jets.
Jets also.
I got it. You know, I as I know everybody's been on Aaron's head here recently, but this is really when he starts to like
Warm up.
perform
We'll
when
see.
people are.
Scraby, what do you
digs.
think's gonna happen tonight?
I'm tempted to take the only actual team that plays in New York with the name New York.
The Bills.
Bills are the only actual team that plays in New York.
Bills. Is that what you're taking?
No, I'm going to take the Jets.
We're
He
all
just
going
he just
Jets.
wanted to give us some knowledge that we already
Right,
knew.
he wanted us to think that he's smart,
Well, I think it's ridiculous.
that he knows
when you play
Buffalo's in the state of New York.
I think it's ridiculous when the San Francisco 49ers are called the San Francisco
that has
49ers.
nothing to do with New York.
New York Jets are in New Jersey. Go ahead, Chris.
Aaron Rodgers passing yardage tonight over under 215.5. Tony.
Over.
You just said Rodgers is going to wake up, so he's going over. Scraby.
For Garrett Wilson's sake, I'm going to say over.
Over. Yeah, Rodgers is going to light it up a little bit tonight. Over. Breece Hall rushing 57.5 yards. Seems like a low number to me. But then again,
Yeah, I
I'm
mean, the
playing
way he's
against
been
him
running
in-
the ball.
Yeah, Tony
I know he hasn't been
perfectly
doing much
the right
for you.
number.
I know he's on Tony's fantasy team,
They
and
haven't
Tony
used him
needs
at
a little
all.
something from him tonight. So, Scraby, you're first.
57.5
yards.
You know what? It's going to be over. They're going to force him the ball.
Force him the
Very
ball.
just
Boy,
stupid
we got
tandem back.
We got the
thing
Jets
they got
offense
going.
exploding in this game. We got Rodgers over.
We needed to.
We got Breece Hall over. And the Jets haven't gained a yard since week 2.
This is all like betting
is
with your heart
crazy.
right here. This is
Yeah.
how you lose money, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm going to go under just to be a contrarian. Tony?
Oh, we got to go over.
Got to go over.
Got to go over.
Okay, we got one hockey game. Colorado's off to a lousy start. The Avs are 0-2. They've allowed 14 goals in their first 2 games. Not good. Tonight they host the Islanders. Despite their slow start, Colorado's favored by 1.5. I'll take Colorado to get on the board with a win. Tony?
Give me the Islanders.
The Isles. Skraby?
I'm going to go with the Islanders as well.
The Islanders. Tommy Edman, 2-run single.
Oh, God.
Still no out. 1 out.
1 out. It's getting closer, though. 6-3.
Mayton's about to give up a
Mets.
3-run job.
He was a former Padre, too, right?
He was.
Another former Padre.
He was a baby when he was a Padre.
I was going to say, he's been in the league a long time then.
Oh, that's
I
a
got to
play
tell
that's
you,
got to be
Pete
made.
Alonso
Did
did
you
not
see
make
that?
that play at all. It bounced
They're
right off his
collapsing.
glove.
It's
It's not an error.
Pete
I mean-
Alonso again in the dirt. This dude is
Pete Alonso's-
always playing in the dirt.
Pete Alonso's not a really
I don't know that
a
I've
very
seen
good
him
fielder.
on his feet very rarely.
He's not
other
a good
than
fielder.
hitting.
Freddie Freeman turns that into a double play. Pete Alonso turns it into a 2-run single. So, yeah, 6-3 there. All right, there's our daily gambit, guys.
All right, let's get to break because we are
There we go.
Okay.
we are well beyond our time. However, as much bad news as there was over the week, we did have some good news. The Aztecs, baby!
Hey, we got something to
We'll
talk
about them on the other side. Here's some traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan.
All right, 323. Gwynn and Chris, Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby, all of us together today. Not that we wanted to be. Of course,
No.
This is game 2 of the NLCS. The Mets just got out of a major jam. Bases loaded, 1 out. Kike Hernandez hits into the inning-ending double play after a challenge from the Dodgers. But the call stands, and so they go to the 7th inning. The Mets once led 6-0. It's now 6-3. I was all excited to talk. Well, I guess we were going to talk about the Aztecs.
Yes.
Can I mention something real quick?
Sure.
Juan Cabrillo would like a message. Has
A
a
word
message
with
for
me?
you. Yes. Juan Cabrillo 1592 on YouTube. Just
It's
search
not
YouTube.
1592.
97.3 The Fan. That's what the name says.
Well, he's got to change it. The year that he discovered San Diego is 1542.
Oh, Juan,
He's
how
about
did you?
50 years
Come
late
on,
on
Juan.
that one.
Come on, Juan. If you're going to be Juan, you got to get it right.
But Juan says, Chris, remember when you and I were fishing off my boat in 1593? It was such a great time.
Caught some swordfish that day, if I recall.
If you want to know why we're doing this, go back to the first segment of the show because
It'll
Chris
all be
reveals.
explained to you.
Yes.
It'll all be explained to you. All right, Aztecs going to Wyoming. The last time they were there, Tony, prior to Saturday, was 2016. It was the Mountain West Championship game. Josh Allen was quarterback that night for Wyoming. But Rashad Penny and company beat them to win the conference championship 27-24. And Saturday, history repeats. The Aztecs win again, 27-24. Down 7 points in the fourth quarter on the road. I know it's not a very good Wyoming team, but when you're trying to build a program, wins like this are helpful, Tony.
No doubt. And, it was a hard-fought win, and at times the Aztec offense looked like the Aztec offense of old. But I can't remember the last time an offense could find a way to put up clutch touchdowns.
Yeah, they did.
Late in the game.
Yeah.
Good job. By highlighting the mismatch that was on the field. And
It was a
not only
freshman
highlighting it,
quarterback
yes,
throwing to a freshman receiver.
not only highlighting it, but taking advantage of it.
Yeah, they did. They threw to the same kid 3 times in a row, once for a touchdown, and Danny O'Neill and company won. And again, the penalties, one of these days, they're going to clean those up.
I sure
Because they
hope
keep
so.
making
'cause
it difficult on themselves. But
They made it as tough as possible.
the Aztecs have one guy on this team that I wasn't aware of until I watched the game at length Saturday. The defensive end, Trey White, is it?
Yeah.
Leads the nation in sacks and had 2 the other day. So they've got themselves something developing there. And, the future's looking good with a quarterback like this. I mean, he's a freshman. He finally threw his first interception of the season.
He doesn't.
And it was a tip ball. It wasn't really his fault.
He doesn't conduct himself like a freshman.
He doesn't.
And
He's a gamer. I like this guy.
it was nice to see. I mean, him have the confidence to, because the first one, the first throw, he had a wide open. He had an easier throw on the first one.
Right.
The second one was a little bit tougher, and I just thought it was. I think what's the receiver's name? Jordan Napier, I think it is, right?
Yes, Napier. Good call, Tony. I was just actually looking that up because we keep calling him the receiver,
yeah.
and we ought to give the guy a name.
I think it's Jordan Napier, if I'm not mistaken. Him going up, making those plays, 2 freshmen. I'm just happy they got a victory, right? Back-to-back weeks of wins for the
both
Aztecs.
games, they rallied in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
And again, they're not.
That fourth quarter part is important because I don't remember an Aztec team, at least in the recent years, being able to do that. They get behind usually. It's like,
go ahead.
It's
Sorry.
a wrap. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I just wanted to say that is also not easy to do in Laramie, where you're not used to playing at 7,000 feet, and you had more energy than they did in the fourth quarter to finish the game. That was a very good sign. The defense held strong after getting the lead. Speaking of the Aztecs, the one thing that gets me through each and every winter, Tony, is Brian Dutcher's basketball team.
Yes, indeed.
And they're getting started here within the next month. Today, the men's preseason college basketball rankings are out. The Aztecs are receiving a couple of votes, but they are not in the preseason top 25. One team that is, however, 6th-ranked Gonzaga, and they will be coming here to Viejas Arena. You guys might all want to circle November 18th on the calendar. That should be quite the game when Gonzaga comes here. The Aztecs will then go to the, Players Era Festival Tournament in Las Vegas.
Must be one of the new tournaments.
One of these, I think it's a tournament that was put together by all these teams so these kids could get some NIL money.
Ah, okay.
Right?
All right.
And so a bunch of good teams are there, and the Aztecs are playing Creighton, Oregon, and Texas A&M in that tournament. Both Creighton and Texas A&M are in the rankings.
Back in there again.
The guys get Creighton.
I feel like we play Creighton every year now.
We ought to put Creighton in a conference, for heaven's sake. Put them in the Pac-12. We play them so much. But good schedule. I don't, you're going to obviously have to replace Jaden Ledee, but I just have faith in Brian Dutcher and these guys to give me another thrilling season. So I'm looking forward to that.
I agree. At this point, there's really zero reason you have to not trust in Dutch.
That's right. So, all right. So there's our Aztec report for the day. Mets are still batting in the top of the 7th. He's pitching for the Dodgers right now, and he's in his 3rd inning of relief.
Mr. Honeywell.
Brent Honeywell. Padre fans will remember him.
He's rocking one of my favorite looks in baseball.
That is?
Turtleneck with the cut-off sleeves.
You being facetious?
I'm not.
Turtleneck, really?
Turtleneck. You get, usually a turtleneck comes with long sleeves.
Yeah.
You got the turtleneck.
I did not expect this.
With the cut-off sleeves.
What is the weather in Los Angeles today?
Gotta be 85.
Is it ducked under 70?
The caveat is I like to wear it when it was cold, but not.
I get that.
But not like ice cold, because you know me, I don't do well in cold weather anyway. But if it was cold enough to protect my neck, and I could
put the turtleneck on.
Yeah, man, I like it.
Gotta say, Tony, there's one word that I think of when the word turtleneck comes up to me, and the word is restrictive.
That's a good.
You don't
point.
like being restricted.
No, that is that. I can.
And how about people who go out of their way to wear a scarf or an ascot around their neck?
Yeah,
Are you kidding me with this?
That's next level. I will say this: I think you've already. When you got the baseball uniform, you're already restricted. You just kind of.
Well, at least my neck can normally breathe.
This is true. When I saw him with the turtleneck, I thought it was a weird look, but I didn't realize that Tony loved it so much.
Yeah, man, that's a good look right there.
All right,
don't see too many with it anymore.
Chris likes to be free swinging. The chat says.
All right. I learned that from Mr. Cabrillo. Change that 1542 if you're going to change your Twitter.
I think they're going to have to.
You're going to have to change
wait a few days for approval.
Is that what happens on that?
You can't just change it up like that.
Yeah, you want to get the year right with the year San Diego was discovered. All right, more Gwynn and Chris headed your way. Recap of week number 6 in the National Football League. The good, the bad, the ugly. Next.
GBU coming your way. First, let's check some traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Robert Half. Got a few problems here, guys. Westbound 78 before the 15. Accident being cleared out of that right lane. Also traveling on southbound 15, right around West Bernardo. There's a crash in the center divide. Further south on the 15 past Miramar Way, we have reports of a stalled vehicle in the HOV lane. Also traveling on southbound 125 before the King Freeway. We're getting reports of some debris across middle lanes. And in Chula Vista, northbound side of the 5, right before Palomar Street. Watch out for a ladder in middle lanes. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals utilize an award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
All right, we are coming up on Monday Night Football here, Buffalo, New York Jets. We'll be getting you out to the Meadowlands in about an hour. But pretty good Sunday afternoon of football. It's a good diversion, considering we didn't have any baseball. Did you watch yesterday, guys? Were you into it? Or?
Yeah.
I couldn't get into it. I
No.
still was kind of in a fog.
Yeah,
a little
I know.
bit.
It's a little
I
weird,
caught
but-
pieces of it.
Well,
It was kind of a boring
I
Sunday.
did see the Cowboys get their butts whipped.
Oh,
was,
yes.
was definitely aware of that
Did
happening.
you see the noodle leg that happened on the field? I
Hutchinson?
feel really bad for Aiden
Yeah,
Hutchinson.
that didn't look good.
I just called
couldn't-
him noodle
you know,
leg, which
you know
I
I
shouldn't have done
couldn't watch it. I had to turn my head. I
It
can't
actually,
see that.
I've watched it over 100 times maybe.
I watched it in fast motion, and you could tell something snapped.
Oh, something did because
Skraby
he immediately
loves stuff like this. I don't get it.
he immediately went
You
and
are
started
so
taking off
weird.
his gloves, which I'm not
He did.
making
He-
fun of him,
and-
but I don't know what that response is. But that's a serious.
Don't you
response
think
to
you would?
something.
Don't you think you would know when you broke your leg?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
if you're right there.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's it, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
definitely knew.
he had surgery today.
Well, I'm glad he's doing okay because that looked
Well,
pretty
he's
serious.
okay now, but he's not going to be playing for a while.
No.
All right, let's start in the good category, and this was quite the game. Tampa Bay at New Orleans. If you
At first it
watched
was.
any of the first half, 51 points put up on the board in the first half. Second half, though, was all Buccaneers.
The action fake. Mayfield looks downfield, throws a pass to caught ball on the left side with the out across the 50 to the 45 is Godwin. He breaks another tackle. Godwin way down the sideline outside the numbers to the 10. 5, 3, 2, 1 touchdown Tampa Bay.
Gene Deckerhoff's one of the best in the business, but he sounded a little.
Yeah, he
Didn't sound great on that one.
He sounded like he was a little unsure.
He was a little unsure. Godwin had a huge game, couple of touchdowns. Mayfield threw for 4. Rookie running back Sean Tucker. Watch everybody pick him up on the waiver wire this week. 192 yards and 2 scores. Tampa Bay 51, New Orleans 27. The Houston Texans, it might be time to start paying attention. They are 5-1, and they're coming off a great year last year. C.J. Stroud continued his strong play and found his new target, the always affable Stephon Diggs.
As CJ's between the eyes, fakes the give, throws to the end zone, hits Stephon Diggs, touchdown Houston. A bullet to Stephon.
And then Diggs immediately got a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. That's Diggs for you. Houston beat the Patriots 41-21. I will say this. From the highlights I saw, Drake May looks like he can throw a little bit, though, for the Patriots. It didn't win the game, but Patriots offense came to life a little bit. And begrudgingly for Tony, putting him in the good category, I had to. All of a sudden, Caleb Williams is starting to announce himself.
Fakes it right down the middle of the field. Komet's got it at the 10. Breaks a tackle to the 5. Rumbles into the end zone. An angry run from Cole Komet. Touchdown! Touchdown Bears!
Caleb Williams, 4 touchdown passes. And you know what I liked a little bit better? He didn't go like running down the field to grab the football this time. He finally looks like he belongs on the field, just playing ball. And he's got the Bears to 4-2. So good for him.
Yes, indeed.
And I know Tony loves him.
I would like to see him do this against some actual teams.
I knew you were going to say
really?
that. Yeah. All these NFL teams are actual teams. I hate to tell
Are
you.
they? I didn't know the Jaguars counted.
You know the only team that's probably not? They lead off our bad category, the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, my goodness. Detroit goes into Dallas, and it was their worst home loss in 36 years. Dallas turned it over 5 times, and Jerry Jones had to defend his coach again, although I don't know why he keeps defending Mike McCarthy, whose team gives up plays like this.
Jerry takes, tosses to Montgomery, flips it back to Amon-Ra. He gives it to Goff, who's going to throw downfield. He's got Laporta, makes the grab. 20, 15, 10-5, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions. How about a little razzle-dazzle in the Lone Star State? 52 yards.
Final score was 47-9. Skraby made a note of the fact that this was scoregami. First time ever an NFL game finished with a final score of 47-9.
I love it.
Here's the thing that I thought was most embarrassing, Tony, in watching the game or watch what I did of it. Detroit tried at least 3 or 4 different times to throw the ball to an offensive lineman. And I think it was in response to that play that got overturned last year in Dallas. Remember that controversy?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, Dan, our guy, Dan Campbell.
The kneecap cannibal.
Kneecap. I mean, he remembered that, and he wanted to stick it to Dallas. And just like it was embarrassing them. It was, Dallas was powerless to do anything about it.
They really were. That is embarrassing that you have a bunch of linemen catching passes.
Yeah, they kept trying, too.
Jerry Jones, it was his birthday.
We'll hear from Jerry a little bit later when we get to the ugly part. Also in the bad yesterday, the team that beat your Niners the week before, the Arizona Cardinals, looked a mess here. 3 turnovers. They're fumbling the ball over the field. Jordan Love had his way for Green Bay.
Play action. Looking downfield right left side. Tucker Kraft wide open. Left sideline 40, 30, 25, 20. All the way to the end zone for the touchdown.
Packers got out 24-0. Went on to beat the Cardinals 34-13.
So Jordan Love, real deal, huh?
Yeah, and he proved me wrong.
He did too.
I remember at Utah State, I didn't think much of this guy, but the Packers knew what they were doing, and he also got 2 or 3 years of extra coaching from Aaron Rodgers. That helps all these guys. And
Patrick Mahomes, all these cats who are balling like that have had a chance to sit. Even Lamar Jackson sat for the most portion of that season before they handed the reins off to him.
Yeah. Brock Purdy sat for a little bit, but then he ended up going to the NFC Championship in his first year without any.
I remember Brock Purdy's first game. Do you remember who it was against?
The Dolphins.
Yes.
Because your Dolphins
broke
Jimmy
G's leg. You're still mad about that.
I'm not really, because it found us Brock Purdy.
It's got you Brock Purdy. Yeah. Also in the bad category, well, the Panthers, they kind of just are stuck there. 20th loss in their last 23 games. Meanwhile, Bryce Young just continues to sit there and watch as Andy Dalton tries in vain to keep the Panthers from losing again, this time to the Falcons.
Mooney and McLeod to the left. There goes Kyle in motion. Snap to Cousins. He wants to throw. Quick shot, London. Touchdown, Atlanta. He pivoted against J.C. Horn and boxed him out and caught the rock for the score.
Caught the rock. Atlanta 38, Carolina 20. Into the ugly category, nothing like a thrilling Sunday night football game to cap off 9 hours of football.
I was so excited to be watching this game.
Skraby couldn't even find a highlight from the Bengals 17-7
That's the
win
truth.
over the Giants.
Joe Burrow running for 47 yards is definitely a highlight.
I don't know where that came from. It was the only score of an inept first half. Bengals beat the G-men. Also ugly. I don't know how long Deshaun Watson still plays, but the Cleveland coach, what is it, Stefanski?
Yes, it's Stefanski. Stefanski,
sorry.
He said today.
He said Deshaun Watson gives us the best chance to win. I don't know what that makes the backup guy feel like.
Who is that?
Can't feel too good about it.
They clearly, at this point, are saying, I think what he's really saying is ownership is like, you're playing this guy.
I guess so.
I don't care what happens. He's starting all of these games.
Yeah.
Because in today's sports world,
you're right. There's no way a coach in his right mind would keep sending him out there.
There's no way.
Because they keep losing. I don't think they've scored like.
It's not that they're losing. They can't score. Their only points yesterday were on a blocked field goal return.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, they can't complete a pass.
Jameis Winston is the backup. I remember now.
Yeah.
Why did you bring in a guy like Jameis Winston if you're not willing to play him?
I would think Jameis could
because
ignite a
the
little
owner
something.
said, I already gave this dude guaranteed money.
Yeah.
He's playing. That's the only thing it could be at this point.
No, it is.
And listen, Deshaun Watson has not played well, not just this season, but all of last season. And they are running him out there despite that. And you know what Stefanski has to worry about, honestly. Stefanski. What he has to worry about is losing that locker room. Because once the dudes in the locker room are like, oh, we're just going to keep doing the same thing no
They've
matter
had
what.
to have lost it by now.
You would think. They're still competitive every week, though.
Well, they are because the Eagles really haven't been able to get out of their way either, but they did enough for this touchdown.
Yeah. Hurts again in the gun. He's back. He's looking. He fires. Wide open. Smith. 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Devontae Smith.
Devonta, the old Heisman Trophy winner. Eagles won at 20-16.
Real quick, did you see Sirianni, the head coach of the Eagles, getting into it with fans?
I didn't see it, but I read about it. He's apologizing all over the place today.
I didn't know he apologized today, but I do know that reporters were very unhappy that he brought his kid with him to the press conference.
Why?
Because then the reporters didn't want to ask the actual questions that they were going to ask.
Listen,
you can't hide behind your kid because you yelled at a bunch of fans.
Dudes bring their kids up there all the time, but that doesn't.
I understand
that. Doesn't mean you don't ask your question, unless it had some profanity in it as you were asking them. Why wouldn't you be able to ask the question?
It's kind of weird to be like, hey,
nah, dog, you gotta ask
Sirianni, why did you yell profanities at those fans in front of his kid?
I'm sure he didn't. The question wasn't why did you yell profanities. It was why are you mixing it up? What was said? Like, just because the kid's there doesn't mean these guys don't have to ask their question.
Dave Roberts was probably there somewhere. Chris.
No, I'm just trying to read the story. Sirianni said he was just trying to bring some energy and enthusiasm. And he was sorry and disappointed at himself for screaming at the fan base of Philadelphia there. Last in the ugly category, they were so bad that I had to put the Cowboys in again.
Yes, indeed.
You know, it was so awful to watch at home, too. I mean, just, oh, boy. 47-9. Here's Jerry Jones talking about the coaching change that everybody wants him to make.
Oh, I haven't even considered that. I'm not considering that. Just so you're clear, I'm not considering that.
But you've done it once before.
I wouldn't be a hypothetical in that matter. Do you think I'm an idiot?
A lot of people kind of do right now, Jerry. I hate to say.
What do you think I'm an idiot?
Jerry's not happy right
Hypothetical
there.
in that matter. Do you think I'm an idiot?
I think that's a keeper for future use on this show.
I think so, too.
Jerry Jones, not going to make a change. The Cowboys are what, 4-2, 3-3? I mean,
I don't think they're that good, are they?
I think they are. 3-3 maybe. The thing is they're still good enough to win games, and then they go out there and play like that. And they have another loss this year like that too. I think that's their second
was it
loss.
Baltimore? Somebody went in there.
No,
and
Baltimore was a
drubbed them,
little closer. I don't know.
It was a drubbing.
They got drubbed somewhere else down the road.
Do you think I'm an idiot?
Do you think he's an idiot, Chris?
You know what? I think that's no. They got drubbed by the Saints at home, 44-19.
Yeah.
I don't think Jerry's an idiot. I mean, but he's. Let's see. He's lost his fastball. Is that fair to say at this point? Looks like all of this is happening in front of him.
He's had his fastball since they ran the 3 straight off.
Since 1995. Here's the funny thing. The Cowboys are 3-0 on the road, 0-3 at home. And they've been clobbered every game.
I'm sorry. It's a move that just will forever go down, especially as long as this year's going and we keep seeing Lamar Jackson hand the ball off to Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is from Dallas, wanted to play for the Cowboys, and you passed.
You think I'm an idiot?
Well, I mean, that one might lend us to thinking you might be, because the one thing that's missing is a running game from the Cowboys. They have nothing. And so Dak is forced to throw the ball when teams know he's throwing the ball.
I mean, Ezekiel Elliott, I don't think has had. I don't know what he did yesterday.
And the funny thing, they said we brought him back. We're saving him. What are you saving him for at this point?
That's a Matt Skraby comment.
We're saving him. You know what you could have had? You could have had Derrick Henry for like $8 million a year.
Can I also say that Derrick Henry on the Ravens is unfair?
It kind of is.
It really is ridiculous. I mean, he's running for 150 yards and 2-3 touchdowns every game.
I mean, like
now.
untouched, like for 5 yards, and you know what that means. If
right.
he's running,
that means somebody has to try and step in front of him.
Right.
Yeah, the Ravens don't. I know they lost their first two. The first one was
you know why
that
they lost their
Chiefs
first
game
two?
where the guy touched the end line.
They lost their first two because they didn't know what their identity was.
They didn't quite have
now
it. Now
they figured it out.
Yeah, the Ravens look really good. All right, that's our good, bad, and ugly from Week 6. Thank you for the highlights, Mr. Skraby.
You're welcome.
Nice work, Scrape.
We're in the top of the 8th inning. Mets batting, still leading 6-3.
Ben Volen. That's who's this.
Oh yeah,
that's the guy who said it was Bush League. You know what's Bush League? Is you tucking your tail and not asking a question. Unless there was some profanity in there, I don't understand.
Honestly, I don't know
why
that
you can't ask the question.
Because there's something about a dad and his kid that you just don't mix the business.
I guess you aren't from Philly like I thought you were, Ben.
Oh,
talking to Ben, not talking to you.
Ben's not from Philly. He's actually, I thought he was a Patriots reporter. Maybe he moved to an Eagles reporter, but it's very strange that he's there.
Ask the question, Ben.
I know that none of us, nor should we, pay any attention to the NBA preseason.
Why not?
But last night, it would have been fun to watch the NBA preseason. Did you guys hear this? Dante DiVincenzo?
I saw this.
He's now playing for Minnesota, playing against the Knicks, his former team. Started screaming at Knicks assistant coach Rick Brunson, the dad of Jalen Brunson.
His buddy's dad.
Yes. And he was upset. I think he was talking. He said he was talking to Thibodeau, the coach.
There was some chirping during the game.
Man,
he was at the free throw line.
Preseason game,
and you could hear the mic picked up him saying,
"Yes,
oh yeah, oh yes. This is what happens when they let you run the team." Talking to Brunson.
Wow.
And as he shot his free throw, and then after the game, there had to be some separation. He seems to be pretty tight. That he got traded from the Knicks.
Didn't like it, but guess who likes DiVincenzo? Anthony Edwards loves him on his team now.
You know he does.
Anthony loves this stuff. I look forward to watching Minnesota play this year.
Yeah, no doubt.
The other quick NBA story for guys like me, Lonzo Ball.
Good for
After
Lonzo.
like 9 years off, is planning to return for the Bulls against the T-Wolves in a preseason game on Wednesday.
Didn't even know he was still in the league.
I did not either.
I'm going to throw this at you, dude.
Now that Tony is in eye distance from me now, I got to watch what I say.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm going to have to take you to emergency after the show most days. I have a feeling. All
right.
Chris versus the fans.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's get to break. Chris versus the fans on the other side.
833-288-0973.
Woo!
hour, as it were. Happy Monday, or as happy as it can be. Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan. Of course, Game 2 of the NLCS is ongoing right now. And unfortunately, the Padres are not in it. And we've been sharing our thoughts throughout the day on what was a very, very difficult pill to swallow Friday night. For the faithful, the Dodgers took Game 1 of the NLCS last night. But today, Francisco Lindor immediately ended their 33-inning scoreless streak with a leadoff homer. Mark Vientos has hit a grand slam. The Mets currently lead 6-3 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Dodgers batting up at Dodger Stadium. Some other news real quick before we get to Chris versus the Fans. Did you guys see this? Jim Harbaugh yesterday had to leave the game against the Broncos, a regular heartbeat. He did return to the sidelines. Harbaugh says he's certainly not considering stepping away from football, but they have said that he's going to be wearing a heart monitor now for the next 2 weeks.
Probably a good idea.
Taking some blood thinner. I don't know. Is Harbaugh a high-strung guy?
Oh, not really. You know, he doesn't wear
This is a
cleats
little
on
hard for me to imagine that
He
Jim
doesn't wear
Harbaugh
cleats
would
on the sideline for no reason.
No, I don't mean to joke about something serious like this, but his Chargers played well yesterday, led 23-0 before beating the Broncos and improving to 3-2. So Harbaugh's turning things around a little bit. Yeah. You mentioned Aiden Hutchinson having the broken leg. This is a big blow for the Lions, but Dan Campbell saying, as I would only expect a kneecap cannibal to say, don't count Hutch out. I think he might make it back by the end of this season.
Okay, that's crazy.
Really?
That's insane.
I mean,
snapped his tibia and fibula.
I was about to say he did both. That is, and that's a big man, so that's a bone that had to be put in a crazy.
Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell's going to will him back on the field.
The kneecap man himself.
Yes, indeed.
He probably could do it too.
He'd probably give him his kneecap too.
Have no doubt he would.
A couple of other baseball notes. Clayton Kershaw said he'll be back next year, so we can all look forward to that. And the Yankees, who open the ALCS tonight, have Anthony Rizzo back after a broken hand. He is in the starting lineup this evening for New York. All right, Skraby, we're ready for some Chris versus the Fans.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the Fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, chance to win a pair of tickets to Parker McCollum, Cal Coast Credit Union Open Air Theater on October 25th. So it's just 11 days from right now. Limited tickets remain at Ticketmaster.com.
All right, the rules. You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get it wrong and Chris gets it right, you're eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. Chris versus the Fans is presented by SD Fat Loss. Lose 20 to 30 pounds in just 60 days. Visit sdfatloss.com to schedule your free consultation. All right. I got my big long break from questions, and I'm ready to get back into the swing of things. Here we go with our first contestant. We're going to go to Neil. Hello, Neil.
Hi, Neil.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good to have you on, Neil.
Pretty good. Oh, if you're a first-time player, let us know before you get into it, and you get the first question for free. Ready to go, Neil?
Let's do it.
Oh, I hope you know this one, Neil. What was the name of the worthless mantis Luis Ariz found prior to Game 5?
Oh, that stupid mantis. I flushed that one.
You flushed it. I don't know if Chris remembers it.
We're still going to need an answer,
though. Whoops, sorry, Neil.
Yeah, I don't really remember, but for some reason, Luigi comes into my mind. That was it.
I was actually legitimately mad at the Mantis on Friday.
You know why you're mad at the Mantis?
Because I was grasping onto
Yeah, it's
everything.
because you put the faith in the Mantis to begin with.
I was like, if you want to be anything in sports lore, Mantis, you're going to do something.
This is how you would have felt about the Goose if they didn't win that time.
Right.
Oh, the Goose would have
You
been...
would have hated geese for the rest of your life.
Feel like just swear at geese as I walk by.
This Mantis is no goose.
Yeah, you're right, Chris. Luigi. Let's go to Wyatt in San Diego. Hello, Wyatt.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Pretty
Going
good.
well.
Pretty good. Here we go. Question number 1. To get to the NLCS, what team did the Mets have to eliminate in the wild card round?
That would be the Brewers.
The Brewers is correct.
And don't forget that every team the Brewers have ever lost to in a playoff
that's right.
has eventually gone to at least the World Series.
I'll
That's
take it
still
right
up
now.
for grabs.
I'll take it at this point.
That's still up for grabs.
All right, here we go, Wyatt. Question number 2. This is a sad question, but it's a good one. Which 2 Padres players were the only to get hits on Friday night?
I think that was Luisa Rise and Higashioka. I was at my buddy's wedding, so I didn't even get to watch Game 5.
You're a good fan.
You're paying
That's
attention
correct.
at your buddy's wedding, though. That's legit.
Yeah, when Higgy got hit, I think he got a double or hit a double.
That was the
No, he had
biggest.
a
That was the
single.
biggest threat. It was single,
Yeah.
double.
And
play.
then double play. That's all they got.
All right.
But good for you,
Yes, Wyatt
You,
knows.
Nice work,
was
Wyatt.
able to come up with that.
Wyatt didn't have to sit through that game. He was at his friend's wedding, so that's also nice. Here we go, Wyatt. Question number 3.
I got to tell you, wedding would have been
Much
preferable.
more fun.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. What quarterback has thrown the longest touchdown pass of the NFL season so far?
Ooh, boy.
I feel like Gardner Minshew might have had some really long, crazy ones there, Nate.
Is Gardner Minshew your answer?
Yes.
All right. Stay there, Wyatt.
Well, this is bad luck for you, Wyatt.
Whoa.
Unless I'm wrong, because Jefferson's on my fantasy football team, and I remember the 98-yarder he caught from Sam Darnold earlier this year.
Sorry, Wyatt. You're such a good
That was
player.
bad luck, Wyatt, because that's the only reason I remember it.
It was 97.
97, okay?
Yeah, but still.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Brian. Hello, Brian.
Hello.
Hey, Brian.
Hello.
Hi, Brian.
Are you ready to
Welcome
play?
to it.
Hey, how'd you know it was Brian? I didn't even answer, Sean.
It's because we have a caller ID, so.
Oh, okay.
That's
All
why
right.
sometimes I call
Caller
people
ID.
by the wrong name. But here we go, Brian.
And we know where you
First
live.
time player.
First time
player.
player. Here we go. Question number 2. What player has the most RBIs in all of postseason baseball right now?
Ooh. That's a number 2 question, you say?
Yep.
Mickey Mantle.
The Mick.
Wait. Overall,
Mickey
like
Mantle.
all time.
No,
This year.
I don't
This
think
year, I don't know if he understood the question. Do you want to give
Oh.
him another chance?
Did you understand the question,
He's a
Brian?
first-time player. I think we should. It's not all
Active
time.
player? You're saying active
No,
player?
this RBIs this postseason only.
Yes, 2024
oh,
postseason.
Okay.
Sorry to laugh at you.
I'll say Shohei Tony.
I like it.
I do like it.
Shohei
It is-
Ohtani.
Unfortunately, he's been missing since the playoffs started.
I don't know, but Lane Thomas has at least 7, so I'll go with him.
Wow. It is Mark Vientos with his grand slam. 11 RBIs.
11.
Never
Wow,
heard of
that's
Mark
good.
Vientos until like the last 3 weeks.
Pretty good.
All right.
so
Rather
he
be
stays-
lucky than good.
That's right. Brian, you're still alive.
Here we go, Brian. Question number 3. I'm going to give you the team on this one since it's so random, but what Marlins player hit the longest home run in the 2024 Major League Baseball regular
I
season?
remember this one.
I'd be lucky to come up with a Marlins player.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
Yeah, that's tough.
You got an answer?
I have no idea.
All right, no idea. You're playing the game. That's okay.
Another member of my fantasy team.
Oh, my
I
gosh.
think it's Jesus Sanchez. Look how happy he is for me. Always rooting for me and supporting me. Scrabe, I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Sorry about that, Brian.
I don't know that I was supporting you or
You're
rooting
not.
for you.
Yeah, you're totally against me every time.
All right, you pick the next contestant then. You pick the next contestant then.
Well, I'm going to make you deal with Dexter. How's that?
What up, Dexter?
Hey, Dexter. I didn't say anything about how you're
I like Dexter, though, because Dexter was cool. He joined us last week after the loss. The first loss.
Or prior to, after that game.
Game 4,
after that loss.
Dexter came on, yeah.
All right, Dexter, here we go. Question number 1.
All right.
Who currently has the most home runs hit in the 2024 postseason?
Okay, most home runs. I'm going to take a stab and say the other Hernandez on the Dodgers. Not Kiki, but the other Hernandez.
Kiki. Teoscar.
Teoscar, yes.
Sorry, Dexter. Fernando, I think. Unless somebody caught him, he has 4.
Yeah, sorry, Dexter.
Sorry, Dexter. Gosh, Yoka's got 3.
Yes, he does.
Just none of those came in the last 2 games, obviously.
All right, we're going to go to tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker? You're telling me I win in my return to Chris versus the fans?
Yes, because we have a hard 4:30 out, so we can't be messing around with time. Give me a player. Let's go Mark Vientos.
Good one. He doesn't have
Good
a lot
luck,
of history.
It just got to the big leagues this year.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of history.
He's been around since 2022.
Yeah, okay.
All
Go ahead.
right.
All right, let's go to you pick, Chris.
I like Mike and Escondido because his ribs are good.
Yes. Hello, Mike.
Even though he doesn't. Do you even barbecue at
Hey,
all,
guys.
Mike?
What's happening? At home, I do, of course.
All right, good.
Okay.
There you
All
go.
right. Here we go, Mike. Question. Or no, wait, actually, we're doing the tiebreaker. I'm sorry about that. So I'm going to ask Chris for a number. He's going to give it, and then you're going to say whether or not the actual number is higher or lower. You will get the point of this in just a second. But Chris,
He gets it.
how many RBIs does he have in his career?
In his career?
Yeah. 3 seasons.
He hasn't really played 3 seasons, though. Tony's right. I mean, this was his first year.
First full year, yes.
100.
100 RBIs. Mike, actual answer, higher or lower?
Much lower.
Much lower. Correct.
You are correct.
Stay there, Mike. I'm going to get your information in the break. You were really close, Chris. 96 career RBIs.
He was closer to 100
He had
than
71.
Mike thought.
He had 27 home runs this year with only 71 RBIs.
Pretty good year for the young guy.
Pretty good.
And a grand slam today for Mark Vientos. Mets still lead 6-3. They're going to the 9th inning now in L.A. We're going to our final segment here on Gwynn and Chris after traffic.
From the 97.3 The
Skinny Chris Ello here for SD Fat Loss. 37 pounds. That's the deal. That's how much weight I lost. Skraby lost a little more than that. So did Ben. So did a lot of our listeners now who've taken advantage of SD Fat Loss and found that this diet has worked for them as well. The reason it works, it's not a fad. It's not just something fly by night. It's something where you really learn about how to eat right and the portion control and how to keep the weight off. Their great maintenance program. But you got to call them if you want to take advantage of it and change your life. 858-665-3211. Or go online, sdfatloss.com. Either way, mention my name. food, like I am, like we all are, Spiro's Mediterranean cuisine. Coronado, La Jolla. And for any information about takeout, pickup, or if you want them to cater your party, spiroscuisine.com. Couple of minutes left on the show. Heading towards Monday Night Football. RBI single here for Starling Marte. Tacks on a run for the Mets. They now lead the Dodgers 7-3 in the top of the ninth.
Can I say something real quick
looking
about
to
that?
even up the series.
This game, I saw this on John Boy.
Okay.
Winker last night ran past second base, got backdoored at second base.
They threw behind him, yes.
In the John Boy clip, it's claiming that Kike deked him. No. An outfielder is throwing to the base he thinks the runner is going to go to. Now, what happened was Winker realized, I ain't going to make it to third. Let me hit the brakes. And to Kike's credit, he saw that. And even though his body was lined up to third, he saw Winker start to stop, and he backdoored. It was a beautiful play by Kike, but he didn't deke him into.
Are you telling me that Jesse Winker did not go over and thank Kike Hernandez for?
No, I'm sure he
some
did.
Very courteous play out there.
I'm sure he did.
Jesse Winker.
I did find out. I did get some tea on what had happened in the whole Brewers situation.
Brewers
because
versus
they hate each other.
He wasn't actually talking to Willie Adames. He was talking to the pitcher who he had got hit by earlier in the year.
Okay.
Willie Adames was just taking up for his teammate. And I heard really did wait for him in the parking lot.
Willie Adames waited for Winker.
But as I said, they go out different sides. So Winker may not even know
That's
he was
a long
out there
wait.
waiting.
The guy's not going to be there. Funny you mentioned all this. Jesse Winker is batting right now.
He sure is.
In the top of the ninth with the Mets ahead.
There's just something about Jesse Winker in the playoffs and the Padres now that makes me angry.
Oh, Lena.
Jesse Winker just got a base hit to keep the Mets rally going in the top of the ninth inning. Tony, I wanted to ask you, I think I know your opinion on this, but I think it's something that is going to be discussed a lot about 10 days from right now.
Okay.
According to Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel, my guy.
How did I know?
Well, you got something better to talk to? You got something better to talk about?
No, I'm just saying you made it so dramatic.
Is the hard out 4:30 or is it 4:25 like it was?
No, we're
last
going to be hitting the music at 4:26:30.
Okay,
All right, so we got a few minutes. But Tua apparently is going to come back, and he's apparently going to come back as soon as he's eligible, which will be after this game. The Dolphins play the Colts this Sunday, and then Tua's 4 weeks you're going to be up.
Yeah.
Look, as a football fan, as a team, and I put my shirt on today to try and make a clean break from the baseball season. I don't know if it's working. I don't know if it's working. But, I'm happy he's coming back. But, there's this danger now, and everybody's going to be, a lot of people are going to be jumping on that ship. Aren't they?
I just knew his face was going to light up when you said ship.
Yeah.
I think that I'm happy that he's coming back. I always thought that this was silly that we were talking about him retiring. And I think it's nobody else's business, honestly. Like, it's his decision. He's got the best doctors in the world telling him what he can and cannot do.
You got to believe that, right?
So if he wants to play, it's fine by me for him to go play.
Here's the thing.
It'd be different if we found out the doctors were like, hey, man, you should not go back out and play ever
That's
again.
It. Your life is in.
That's different. That's not what he's being told, clearly.
Obviously.
Because trust me, if the NFL thought that there was a lawsuit coming for him playing and allowing him to play,
right,
they would shut it down immediately.
And they came out last week and said they're not getting involved.
There you go.
So that tells you something. The other thing is, I don't know if it's fair to compare Tua to DeMar Hamlin. Probably not 100% fair. But DeMar Hamlin actually died on the field.
Yes.
And he wanted to come back and play, and he did. And now he's doing awfully well. Now, the odds of him taking another shot like that are 1,000,000 to 1.
But
he's still risking it, and this is what he wanted to do.
There is far more risk in DeMar Hamlin being out there than there is the quarterback for the Dolphins in Tua.
I don't know if you've seen that offensive line this year.
That's a good point.
They're not very good.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's equal. But either way, my point is, it's his choice. I know that we are so concerned about everybody else nowadays. I think
That's right.
We need to give him space to make a decision about his own life.
And apparently that's what he is going to do. One other thing, we get to filling in another minute here. Major League Baseball, postseason TV ratings up 18%.
I saw 17, but 18.
17, 18. That's good.
You know what else
for baseball.
Major League Baseball is doing next year that I'm very happy about?
Why?
We might have talked about this, but they're going back to the All-Star.
Oh, yeah.
Regular uniform.
Yep.
I saw it, and I can't believe I didn't cut into Ben and Woods the minute I saw it a couple days ago. I was so excited.
Which is just a regular uniform.
That's right.
If it's a National League All-Star game, the Padres will be in white.
If it's awesome.
If it's an American League one, they get a choice now. They can wear this pinstripe or they can wear the brown top.
Do you think they have to choose as a team? Like, say
Yes,
there's
they
three
can't have
Padres.
they can't have two guys.
Oh, they
wearing
can't all do
pinstripes.
different ones?
Yeah, what if, like, Yu Darvish seems to really like the brown
He
top
does.
and the sand pants.
He
So.
does, and I was liking it too when it had victories in it. And then it
That's
didn't
true.
have a victory in it. The
One last
one.
thing, because you mentioned Darvish. We didn't touch on it, but what a class move by him.
Yeah, man.
Touching his heart and Peter Seidler logo before he went to work in Game 5. That's
Indeed.
something we can remember fondly from that game, and about, unfortunately, the only thing.
Yes, you're right.
And then the game started.
All right, Monday Night Football's next. We get a full 4 hours with you tomorrow and Wednesday, and both shows tomorrow and Wednesday will be followed by the return of the Skraby Chronicles.
Can't wait.
So everybody settle in for a lot of fun stuff tomorrow. We'll have a fantabulous sports game show and some other goodies for you. In the meantime, football's next. Dodgers come to bat, bottom of the ninth, trailing 7-3.
Boo.
We head out on 97.3 The Fan.